Hey, this is David for Big Bits, and this video is going to be kind of an update video. We're going to talk a little bit about TA with Bitcoin. There was a huge move today, which could be kind of a precursor for another huge move. And there are some major updates regarding the YouTube channel. Mainly, we hit 2,500 subscribers, which I'm amazed. The channel growth has been really amazing since I came back here not too long ago, back in September of last year. Well, that's been almost about 9 months now, so it's not not that soon. It's actually been quite a while now, but for 9 months, I think the growth for a channel like this has been really good. Made a lot of headway on a lot of things, and I'm going to be sharing some progress with you all today as far as what's actually going on and some of the plans for the future of Big Bits once we get things really rolling here soon. So, first off, obviously, we hit 2,500 subscribers. Here's some TA. I'll talk about this in just a second, but I did start another giveaway. I said this is to celebrate 2,500 subs. I did kind of want to wait on that, but at the same time, I was super busy in June, so I just kind of combined the June and July giveaway. This is going to run through July, but the thing that I do for you all on the channel is if you watch the videos, I have the questions. You can see it's only worth 20 entries, but I change the questions periodically so that you get more entries if you keep up with what's going on. And the answer to this question is actually going to be up here. So if you can read that stuff, then you'll be fine. If you need to pause it, that's fine too. But that should be easy enough for you. Let's see. That is it for the giveaway. We're doing $50 this time because I combined them. Really nothing too special about it, but if you're interested in joining it, of course you can check out Twitter. I posted a link there. It's on the Discord as well. Or, you can look at the comments section of the video and well, not the comments, the description in the video, you should see a link to it there. I might even put it in the comments. That's a pretty good idea. But you should see it in the description of the video while you're down there. Like, subscribe, all that great stuff, because we are going to do more giveaways in the future, as well as talk about TA, the channel, scripts, TradingView, my application I'm working on, and many other things. So please do that if you haven't already. That's a big help for me. So I'm going to kind of get off of the giveaway and kind of focus on TA, and Bitcoin is looking really good. This is the chart here. I'm going to actually switch back to the tweet because this does a really good job of explaining everything. I said a lot of things turned bullish today. Now this was before the end of the daily candle, so we can't see the next values on here, but I'll show you those in just a second because I have the chart pulled up. But anyway, we had the close above the daily mid Bollinger Band line, and I've switched now to using my own fancy Bollinger Bands indicator, which for some reason I hadn't updated my chart to use that before here, and I really do enjoy using this much more than the traditional one. I'm using the basic fill option, so it's not so ugly. But I like what's going on here. You're going to have the 100 crossing over the 200 moving average down here. Your closing price was above the mid Bollinger Band, and generally it's a pretty common strategy with the Bollinger Bands is when the price crosses over the mid band, that's usually a good opportunity to enter into a long position. So it's up here up at the top near where there's been a lot of resistance, and that would worry me a lot. But you have these other indicators that are showing a lot of good things. We already talked about the close above the midband, but the smoothed RSI is signaling an upward trend change, and you can see it's down here pretty low. It's in a neutral zone right around 50, but it spiked up quickly with a green bar and a green arrow. That means that the smooth line changed directions upward, and the histogram is up quite a bit as well. So a lot of times with this indicator, you can see there's a lot of false signals in here, but when you're looking at it compared with some of the other momentum indicators, it can kind of lead towards that momentum change. You can see this is, I believe, the stochastic, and you can see that it shot up quickly, and paired with the other stochastic RSI, the stochastic RSI really shot up, and that is something you should really take notice of, because when it does that, it typically kind of runs with that. And of course, none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you that Bitcoin is going to hit 12K or anything and that you should go long, but this is what I am noticing and I am hopeful for the current situation, and the dip buyers may be kind of left in the dust to buy another dip another day. And of course, the last one is the MACD bullish cross forecasted within soon. And my English is falling apart because I'm reading a lot of the comments that I'm getting from bots on YouTube here. But in all seriousness, there is a forecasted MACD crossover, and we'll zoom in on that on the actual chart. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here at the actual chart itself. I wanted to zoom in on that MACD. You can see it's actually probably going to cross over after the next daily close if we have another green daily here, and even then it might not even require a green daily as long as if it's a red candle, it's a small one. So you're going to probably have a MACD crossover, and the fact that it's happening closer to the zero line, to me, in my experiences, the crossovers around this area are usually a little bit stronger. I've in fact written a script about this back in the old days when I was using Quant Connect. I wrote the #1 script on their platform because they do have a social ranking for your scripts. It was the #1 overall on the entire site that had to do with a MACD crossover within like this 1 to 2% range of price here. So whenever the crossover occurred here, it was usually a lot better than if it occurred up here or down here. Well, with bullish ones, it actually was just as well if it was up here as well as down through here as well. But beyond that point, just the crossover does look like it's going to come as long as we don't crash down hard. Now, I did mention this could be a bull trap. I do think that is quite possible as we are heading into resistance. You can see there's several areas here to watch. We're not up to any of the main resistance levels just yet. And let me zoom in just a bit, switch this back to just Bitcoin. And I don't like the way this looks anymore. But you can see there are several key levels here we are not quite up to yet, and if we can get past those levels, then likely it's kind of game on. I believe a lot of other people, if you're following on crypto Twitter and some of the other places to get some sentiment, then I think you can see that a lot of people are very bullish if we can bust past this resistance level here and shoot up to $11,000 to $12,000. A lot of people believe the next bull cycle might be starting in that case. So just something to keep an eye on. I'm very concerned about the bull trap, but at the same time, I'm not going to be longing resistance. I've DCA'd for a very long time, so I'm not too worried about trying to FOMO in here. If it does break up, we'll eventually get another dip. It's not going to go straight up to 100,000, so I'm not too worried about that if I want to add more. All right, so that is it for the Bitcoin TA. Let me see. I usually talk about some other things. Now, stocks, they actually look kind of similar. I'm looking at the S&P here. Their momentum indicators look fairly similar. Of course, they're a lot slower because you don't trade weekends and off hours on the S&P. Well, these are the future contracts, so kind of do, but not with the regular ones. So it's also closed above its mid-Bollinger Band. It's got some momentum shooting up, a potential crossover on the smoothed RSI, and these potential crossovers as well, although I'm not really concerned about the MACD. That one's not as great of a concern as the momentums. If it has another green day tomorrow, I mean, I honestly think it could shoot back up here, and you might even get that famed bearish divergence on the RSI on the daily if the price comes up to, say, 3.3 to 3.4 and perhaps does a double top. I have a hard time seeing the price going lower right now with this kind of cluster of MAs up here. And I just realized you couldn't see the momentum indicators down here. So there you go. You can kind of see those now. There's a chance for those crossovers on just about all of those, including the smooth RSI, which I believe you might have been able to see that one. But that's it for the S&P. I'm not really going to go into a lot of the other ones. You will have noticed, though, there has been a lot of whale movements on basic attention token, and that's one of the coins I pay a lot of attention to, or should I say tokens that I pay a lot of attention to. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that chart. It's actually done pretty well the last couple days. It's a little bit ahead of Bitcoin on a lot of these indicators. It's actually kind of charting similar to Bitcoin. As you can see, well, move it back over here so you can actually see the values. Its stochastic shot up, its smooth RSI shot up, and this was a couple days ago. Its indicators are shooting up, and including the MACD crossover. So it's fairly similar to Bitcoin here. It might be a little bit ahead of Bitcoin, so we'll see if they actually play out and act the same. But a lot of the reason there's these large whale movements on basic attention token right now is that the compound token, which if you're following around crypto on crypto Twitter or just basically YouTube, anything that has to do with crypto, you're probably hearing about Compound, the DeFi token. People are staking kind of their tokens on there for people to borrow, and you lend out your tokens and you get interest back. And the interest on basic attention token was ridiculous, like 26%. It was huge. So you put your tokens in there and you get a 26% annual return out of it, and it's locked in a smart contract. So there's almost no way you're not going to get those back. So it's kind of interesting to see how that's happening. But there's been a lot of basic attention token whale alerts come through. Here's one for 19.3 million, 45 million. Let's see, there was a few more. 7 million. 19, 17, 16. So yeah, there's a lot of basic attention tokens moving around lately, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bearish. If they are moving these into the compound system to lock them up for the interest, then that could be a good thing, depending on how much interest they're bearing and if they're selling that interest. So just something to kind of be aware of if you're like me and you're into basic attention token. It's holding up really well versus Bitcoin. It's actually close to its highs since the Corona crash back there. Take a look at this on the weekly chart. And yeah, it's still within that range of the 50 to 100 that we've talked about on the channel before. Now, a lot of the momentum is still kind of pointing up here. It looks like it's kind of waiting on something. It is kind of consolidating, so we'll kind of see how these things play out. But I'm still kind of hoping for the 100 moving average here. It's not looking incredible, but the price just kind of keeps going up. And if Bitcoin can make its way to the top of the weekly Bollinger Bands, which would bring it out into a potential bull cycle, then it could lift up alts as well with it. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so I've been going on about TA for a while. It's time to actually talk a little bit about the channel here and Big Bits itself, and to see where things are going to go. Now, I've had some discussions lately with some people I've been working with regarding Big Bits and what I'm going to be doing with things and work that people would like to see me do. I've had some people approach me to create custom scripts for them, and I've been fine to do that. I've done that off and on periodically. I really don't do it very often. Don't have a ton of people approach me right now because I'm not seeking that, but I do have people approach me, and I do it occasionally. I might seek out to do that more often. I do need to be able to generate a revenue, and the channel itself is about to hit monetization status with YouTube. So that would mean ads on the videos, and as much as I don't want to have to do that, I'm probably going to need to do that, probably on the tutorial series and some other things, unless I can get some content sponsored eventually, but we'll see how that actually goes. I'm not really too sure that's going to ever happen, unless I have a much broader audience, and right now it's pretty much focused on trading and scripts in general and development. It's a niche area within a niche area, so we'll see how that actually goes. But the monetization is going to start. I don't expect much from that. Probably not even enough to cover the giveaways. While we have 2,500 subscribers, we don't get a ton of views on all of the videos. And the videos that we do get a ton of views on, we're probably not going to generate a lot of revenue. And it's probably not going to be enough to cover the giveaways themselves. So there's going to have to be something else. So I'm going to probably look at doing some more scripts. And after talking a little bit, I'm going to try to do a few more live streams. And I think I have decided I'm going to convert some of my more well-known scripts, such as the fancy triple moving averages and the fancy Bollinger Band scripts, into private strategies. And by that, what I mean is I'm going to take the indicators, I'm going to convert them to a strategy, and I'm not just going to make it a single strategy. I want to make the fancy indicator into a fancy strategy. So not only will it have all of the features of the fancy indicators, but it will have multiple options for the strategy. So you'll be able to select multiple conditions to be able to be true. So I have the alert conditions set on the moving averages, so you can get an alert whenever there's a crossover in the moving averages, when the price crosses up and down. So what I'm hoping to do is build in a system to where you can select which conditions you would like for the strategy to look for to buy, which ones you would look for to sell, and it will go through and it will try to find all of those that match on the current candle, and it will run the strategy based on your settings on the already very customizable indicator itself. So I think I will create those and make those private and kind of sell access to that, because apparently that's a pretty good model for the people on TradingView platform. I'll see how that actually goes, if it's going to be very receptive, if people would even like that. Otherwise, I might just focus on seeking out the freelance work to help people with creating their own scripts, and I think I could use the Big Bits brand quite a bit to do that. And one other thing I'm also considering is creating some courses, some online courses that go very in depth. I know the YouTube videos are a great free resource, but I think I might go look at creating like a Udemy course or something like that to sell, and maybe give a little bit more insight than I'm able to give there, go into a little bit more detail as to actually what's going on and how things are actually going to be done. Maybe even combine some of the work that I'm doing, and we'll see. I'm not too sure about how that would actually work, but I'm just trying to find ways to monetize things to keep things going. So that I can continue to do giveaways and continue to get people onto the channel, continue to grow everything, and hopefully build some partnerships here and actually start making some real money, because ultimately that is the goal. So I do love to share and provide education, but I also have to provide, and that's part of it. But I do want to share with you some updates. The whole moving average candles for the last video that I did on the custom candles and bars, this one, if you haven't seen the video, it's a pretty good video. It shows you how to plot your own custom candles and custom bars. This one is actually going to be selected, well, it has already been selected to be a featured script in the month of June. And this is the third script out of the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 that we've had that's going to be featured. And this is a super simple script, and I'm honestly surprised it was selected to be featured, but it is kind of out of the box, so I'm completely fine with them featuring the script itself. It's a little bit different, it's very simple, so it's a good way for people to look at a script and think, you know, maybe I can do this too. So I understand why it was selected for that. Like I said, it's very simple, so it's easy to think that it shouldn't be, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. Maybe it shouldn't be, because there are other people creating scripts probably similar to this, making their own custom candles, but in the end, I'm completely fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. Like you're probably thinking, why would I? Of course, but yeah, there's kind of a community of people who are in the Pine coder scene, and you know, I completely agree with some of them who think that this might not be good enough for that. I know myself, I think it might not be complicated enough, but as somebody else mentioned, just thinking outside of the box and doing things in a different way, and not everybody is a skilled developer, So these are good ideas to put out there for other people to look at, and that is kind of the purpose of the channel here. And my target audience is people who may not know anything about coding and showing them how to do these things. So I think the script is good at doing that, and in that aspect alone, I think it's probably worthy of it. When you pair it with the fact that there's this video to go with it, and I know there's not a lot that really shows that I have a YouTube video associated with this, because you're not allowed to put that in the description of the video. But if people look and they find these YouTube videos that explain the scripts, then I think there's a lot more value added than just the actual script itself. And I know I've been going on about this script quite a bit, but that being said, if you want to check out the scripts, go to the profile on TradingView, and I always have to mention to use the referral link in the description of the video if you want to sign up for a paid plan. Some of the scripts require a paid plan that I've done because they use real-time data and 1-second candles. I know it's crazy to think of, but yeah, they do use 1-second candles for the reason of creating custom delays with alerts. So if you want to use that, you're going to have a premium. So if you're going to do that, please sign up with the referral link. That'll help me. That'll help you. I think it's $30 credit towards your paid plan. Now, onto the trade alert responder application, and it's going to throw an error when I start it. That's because I changed some rules here, but it will eventually fire up entirely, or it might not throw an error. I believe I fixed that. So we'll wait for this to come up all the way, and this video has been going on for a while. I do apologize about that. But here we go. There are some very big updates here. We have the alert scanners. The plugins were added. We've already talked about this on the channel. We have the custom settings for the individual instance of this, and we also have the plugin wide settings for it. So this is all looking really good, but the big thing that I've done is I have added the alert action plugins, and I have the Twitter and Discord alerts working using the plugin model. So it's a pretty big step, so there should be another release of Trade Alert Responder by the end of the week, hopefully. And I've also kind of changed some of the look and feel of the application to match the overall dark theme of it. Now there's several things that I have written down. I've cleared out my alerts if you haven't noticed. I've cleared out the alerts. I've cleaned up the theme. There's still several things that need to be done before we can move on. One of the things that I am going to be doing before really working hard on the alerts and kind of sharing this is the alert settings. What I want to have is a custom message with placeholders similar to the alerts on TradingView, to where you can take any property of your alert and you can design your own message that's going to be shared in your alert using those placeholders and the properties of the alert. So that might be a little bit confusing, but that's going to be really neat. And this application itself will be part of the monetization strategy for Big Bits in the long run. I have talked about the plugin model before and how it is going to be something I want to monetize. I've thought of a fairly decent model for how to do the monetization. I am going to be testing that model out probably this week if I can get time. We'll see how that goes. But once I test that model out, if it works, then I can actually go ahead and add it to the application. What I plan to have is like a section up here in the top that shows your user account, and there will be accounts. I believe I'm going to tie it to my website, and you'll have to authorize through my website, and we will base permissions for plugins based on your membership level / roles on the website itself. So hopefully this will work out, and then once we do that, I can come up with the actual monetization strategy. I've got to make sure everything actually works before I can tell you that this is how it's going to happen. I've kind of thought about some other methods on monetizing the application of the plugins. One was actually using a smart contract and interacting with the Ethereum blockchain, but I felt like that was a bit too complicated. Now it's entirely possible. I could actually make this application a wallet, and you could fund your account, your address, your wallet here, and you can interact with a smart contract that would give you permissions and it would read off of that. And I thought, that's the perfect API, but it's actually really complicated. I would feel really bad if people lost their seed phrases or anything like that to actually be able to access their address. So I don't think it's quite ready for that. I think what we really need is like a third-party service that will allow you to create an account to interact with smart contracts for you. I'm not aware if that actually exists or not. If it does, please leave a comment and let me know. Because if I can put a third-party service in here that interacts with the Ethereum blockchain and allows you to interact using a proxy account, essentially, your account is hosted on a third-party site, whoever is hosting this API, and then you would grant permissions to do this so that it can interact with the blockchain for you, then that would be great, and that might actually be a good business idea itself to actually create that. I can't believe I'm just now thinking about this as a solution. But yeah, that would be great, but the simplest and easiest to implement solution would be to connect this with my website and memberships there. And I'm thinking I would like to reach out to try and partner with someone to add news or a publication feed to my website and thus to the application itself. I think that would be a nice thing to add to this. I believe people will want to use this application if they're actually using it to monitor their logs actively and doing all those other things. They might want to have their information published in a featured section. Really, it's just working with trying to help someone else grow, because I believe there is room for a partnership here that can work, in the sense that I host this software that helps you spread the word about your publications, your trading alerts, using the different plugins. So I help you post to Twitter, post to Discord, and use whatever additional plugins I'm going to create, and you get to put your publication here so that I help you spread your information as well. So I would be helping them spread their information through the use of the plugins, and they would be helping me. I don't know. I've lost my train of thought. But anyway, I'm helping them with the alerts, and they're helping me getting the word out there about the application itself. I'm getting their information on here because it will draw those people who want access to their information into the application itself. So yeah, I kind of went at a loss for words there, but that's what I meant. There is room for a partnership here. I would love to see this actually happen, an extra tab for like information, or maybe even other things related to that. So I would love to see something like that come of this, hopefully once we get things figured out a little bit more. But yeah, I have been going on for a very long time. This probably should have been a live stream, but I've been super busy lately with the Father's Day holiday, and I actually took off some time recently, and I was away for several days here, so I haven't really been able to make a video. And yeah, this probably should have been a live stream. I'm kind of rambling a bit, but hopefully you got to see all the updates. Everything is now dark theme. We've got everything else coming up. It's all looking really good here. But that's going to be it for this video. Please remember the giveaway, and I talked about it at the very beginning of the video, nearly 28 minutes ago. So if you haven't already, please check out the giveaway, answer the questions, and check back on the channel for the answers to those questions periodically. Remember, the answers for this one are up here, so you're already going to have a head start. And then while you're down there clicking on the link for the giveaway, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. My goodness, if you've watched this whole video, I think you should subscribe, because if you've sat through all of this, then you'll love my other content, because I usually don't ramble like this, and it's usually a lot more valuable the entire duration. So we're usually talking about PineScript tutorials, TradingView updates, and there will be some videos this week about TradingView updates. I've had quite a few big ones come through, but Okay, I'm done rambling. That's it for the video. I've already asked you to like, I've already asked you to subscribe, so have a great day.